Hello. As you know, CMC LLC does important, necessary work in innovative ways to convey how imperative it is for everyone to acquire media literacy skills in conscious ways. To do so is as important now as it has always been to accurately assess and evaluate media messaging for facts, truths, accurate narratives and representations, and appropriate symbolism, as well as to safeguard our mental, physical, social, and community well-being. So we are consistently producing products that make acquiring media literacy skills easy, accessible, and budget-friendly. To that end, I'm excited to introduce another innovation that makes a wonderful companion to our suite of conscious media literacy skill acquisition products. The Media Consciousness Quadrant, or MCQ, is an original, thought-provoking media and content analysis and evaluation tool for the continuum of media engagers. All content and media have messages. Sometimes those messages inform, sometimes they disinform, misinform, purposely obscure intentions, manipulate discourses, are created to cause harm, or are in other ways problematic. I conceived of the MCQ when I was doing research as to why so many independent content creators, brands, and organizations were making what would seem to be obvious problematic content. And according to them, it was unintentional. They would apologize for missteps, and some would say that they would hire a diversity consultant to avoid making that misstep again. The reality is that there are some really smart content creators who unintentionally make problematic, thoughtless seeming content. I don't believe that in all those instances they made problematic content because they are racist, sexist, mean, or otherwise problematically biased. I also don't think that in all those cases of problematic content, that the content creator, media sponsor, or promoter did not have the ability to think critically. I believe it's highly probable that they have been conditioned by media's perpetuation over centuries of certain false narratives and misrepresentations, and that they are so accustomed to them that they think popular narratives and representations are the same thing as accurate narratives and representations. Of course, they are not. If they do know a narrative is false, or an image is misrepresentative, or a symbolism is inappropriate, they still don't seem to recognize when they present that way in their own content. Now, only a content creator, media sponsor, or promoter knows what is truly their intentions with their content. So in many cases, we can only take them at their word, however suspect that may seem. Based on what they claimed, the access they have to sophisticated distribution and sophisticated human resources as content creators, I suspect that many of them knew how to think critically, and that many of them were not intentionally trying to create content that is problematic. From what they claimed, and giving them some benefit of doubt, I surmise that some content creators, media sponsors, and promoters rely too heavily on overestimated critical thinking abilities. In too many cases, critical thinking only allows people to explore within the confines of what they already know. It doesn't necessarily encourage them to explore beyond that. It is the inability to explore beyond what they know or think they know that can lead them to unintentionally create problematic content. So while critical thinking is an important skill, and we will always advocate that to the best of one's abilities, they use it, and if they are not sure of their abilities, to seek consultation, we also believe that sometimes, in fact, all the time, an additional type of thinking is required for a comprehensive analysis of content from concept to completion. In many cases of problematic content, the intention was appropriate, but the execution of the concept was not, because the makers did not know how to think consciously. that being an ability to demonstrate conscious concern, which we believe is more likely to prompt someone to ask themselves, what don't I know that I don't know? And then seek credible information to fill that gap for better analysis, assessment, and evaluation of their concept and content. I wanted to develop a framework to help content creators, media sponsors, and promoters analyze their content better before they published it for public consumption. Of course, there are those that are intentional about the problematic content they create, sponsor, or promote. This tool, indeed none of our tools, are for them. This tool is for people who want help demonstrating and articulating conscious concern for subjects and subject matter, narratives and representations, and symbolism. I also wanted to develop a tool that would allow media consumers to better analyze the merits of the media they consume. When I first conceived of the MCQ, I made it available only with purchase of my Conscious Media Literacy Guide, Listen In, Watch Out, Word Up. Now, I'm happy to say it has been updated to include better and more instructions for how to use it, and can now be purchased separately from the book in celebration of CMC LLC's 5-year anniversary. In addition to the MCQ, we've updated our terms and definitions guide. CMC LLC has conceived of new terms and definitions or updated existing terms with new definitions that better enable the development of some critical awarenesses of media messaging practices, to better understand how to acquire media literacy skill development that is consciousness-based for a 21st century media landscape. Sometimes we can sense something is not right with a messaging or image. However, we often don't know how to determine if and why the content or media is problematic or not. Then too, it may be obvious, but we may not be able to articulate how and why the content or media is problematic or not. Based on empirical data, that is, what companies claimed after receiving backlash for their content, and what I understood to be true about generations of media conditioning of historically false and inaccurate narratives and representations, and the too narrow a view when it comes to that, as well as giving some grace when it comes to the benefit of doubt, I developed the MCQ. This tool can help support the desire of content creators, media sponsors and promoters, and media consumers to understand how, why, when, where, and if content and media messaging is problematic or not, as well as help them articulate those important elements for civil discourse. Together, the MCQ and the terms and definitions will elevate your understanding of media-related concepts and elevate your ability to discern media messaging in conscious ways by acquiring conscious competencies to assess messaging construction from 4 insightful aspects of inquiry and awareness, or unawareness if the case may be. You already know about the desirable state of awareness that we term as conscious concern and define as caring enough about your subjects and topics to demonstrate accuracy in narratives and representations about them in your content. Another level of consciousness is conscious unconcern, which is the least desirable state of awareness. The third level of consciousness is unconscious concern, the ideal state of awareness. And the fourth level of consciousness is unconscious unconcern, a learning stage of awareness. The MCQ can be used by the continuum of media engagers to develop imperative awarenesses about their media and content messaging, and again, to help them articulate those awarenesses, where they exist and when they do not exist in content. You can find out more information and detailed indicators for each of these levels of awareness to help guide you in your analysis, evaluation, and assessment of media and content. I invite you to explore these concepts more. Both resources can be purchased for a nominal price, and a special limited time 5-year anniversary promotion is on at our online store located at www.newconsciousness.school. Thank you, and cheers.